All right. So quick question.
It's never a quick question.
Without fail, if you start your sentence, you walk in the drum shop, say, "Hey, quick question for you." Forget it. You're going to be here for at least an hour. You're going to be here for an hour because what you're asking is not a quick question. So if you want a quick answer, never use the phrase "quick question." That's where the segment came from here. So this week we are going to address this quick question, and because we've got time, we can talk about it. This not so quick question, I should say. So I'm curious to get your take on it. Maybe we'll rope Jason into this one when he pops on. We'll rope him in. So we get this a lot, and there's variations of it, but this is essentially the gist. Hey Sean, quick question.
Yes.
If I start lessons today, how long will it take before I'm good?
That's a loaded question.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is something that folks want to know. How long until I'm up and running? How long before, I feel comfortable? These are all very vague things.
You get it all the time, don't you? Yeah. They immediately want to get good. They don't want to put in the time.
Where that end point is, like, how quick can I get there?
Yeah, right.
Some of it might come down to, like, they want to get up and running at church or whatever it is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Depends on their application.
It could be a budget thing. Like, I got a gift certificate.
I never thought about that.
This much amount of time to
Sure.
get where I want to be.
Sure.
You know?
But my answer to that, because I've had this question numerous times over the years, 100 times, let's say.
Okay. What do you?
I
how do you
say,
address it?
I say, it's more about. It all depends on how much time you put into it. That's my quick answer, because it's not a quick question, but you have to give them a quick answer that puts the emphasis back on them again a little bit. Like, hey, it all depends on how dedicated you are. It's not about like how good of a teacher we are. It's how good you are at practicing the information and the lessons and building upon that. So it's a matter of how much you're going to put into it.
Yeah.
How much you're going to put into it is how much you're going to get out of it.
And I think that it's important to remember this, and it's that the work doesn't happen in your lesson; it happens at home, right? It's the amount of time that you put into something.
Sure.
Now, that said, you put into it what you get out of it, what you're going to put into it, that whole thing. Mm-hmm. But that said, some folks start out with an incredible skill, a natural ability.
Absolutely.
So that really complicates the question because sometimes it takes longer for you to grasp a concept than someone else. It's just how we're all human beings. We're all very different.
I know certain things, I struggled with, and certain things came very easy to me. But I put a lot of time in certain aspects of my playing. So whenever I'm trying to learn something, that I've put some time into, it comes easier. But if I'm working on something I'm not so familiar with, like polyrhythm kind of stuff, I don't really do too much of that kind of stuff. Play a lot of more straightforward stuff. Then I struggle with that. Like, because I haven't put a lot of time into it. And I remember learning polyrhythms in, my lesson days on Queen Street and just hating it. Like, like I don't. It didn't make sense
apply to what you were trying.
It didn't apply. Yeah, I wanted to play in a punk band, and I wanted to play that kinds of stuff. So it didn't really, I didn't get it. I'm like, I do not want to learn this at all. I could understand the whole like learning world beats and jazz and that type of stuff. My drum teacher would sprinkle in that kind of stuff, to make me a better player. But I remember that struggling with just like, dude, this makes me not want to play drums. And I think he learned too, because I was just not practicing that stuff.
Not motivated, not practicing. I think the goal, what's your goal? That comes up fast if I get this quick question, is what's your goal? Is your goal to join a band? Is your goal to play in church? Is your goal to be able to play a song? Like there's some folks that come, there's that I don't know if you want to call it like Hallmark movie moment type thing where it's just like, yeah, literally I'm here because I want to play a song at my wedding and surprise my husband. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that is a very different trajectory than someone who wants to start with the fundamentals and become an expert at this in years gone by.
Sure.
So it's a very different thing. So I usually try. That's where I kind of
ask questions like, well, what are your goals? What do you want to get?
What are your goals?
What are your goals?
Because it changes.
And maybe I'll change mine to that, because I think that makes a lot of sense, because not everyone's starting at the same starting point. And what you had said earlier, sometimes there is such a thing as natural ability. some guys just don't get it, and that's something that it's hard to say, or maybe you shouldn't say it, but it's true.
No, I think that's totally valid to say that everyone starts at a different point. Where you end up is up to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some folks start with a leg up, but if you put your time in, put your hours in,
you're gonna get some more.
You
out
can
of
be
it.
a drummer.
Yeah,
you can be a
for sure.
drummer. Another point here that I should mention is that we ask a question like that, knowing full well that we offer private lessons where they can focus on just a song
Yeah.
or focus on just this.
Yeah.
Group lessons, if you're just watching, some generic YouTube like secondhand video of someone else's lesson, like you're not getting personalized with what your goals are and what you're trying to learn.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important, and I think we can all agree on this, is that like a private lesson is the most personal connection. That's where you can really excel if you're looking to take it to the next level, because they're looking at your hands while you're talking to them, or they know that your goal is to play this for this audition for college, and you just have to get that through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So anyway, let's
agree.
quick plug our guests, because we're about to bring them on,
Let's do it.
and we're gonna talk about all sorts of things that we haven't brought up to him at this point. Now, I really wanted to really, we'll keep it easy. We'll take it easy on him and start with just how he got into drumming and that sort of thing, and then just ramp up into what he's doing now. You've known Jason for how long?
I met Jason in the late 90s. So, how long ago was that? Is that 20 years, 30 years? I don't know anymore. Is that 20 years?
I was born in '96, so.
Yeah, okay. Listen to you now. Well, I met Jason in the late 80s. Oh my God. The late 90s, when him and I were coming in and taking private lessons. And I remember he was taking lessons with Aaron Walker, who was a great teacher at the time. That's who he was taking lessons from. And him and I meeting outside of the Queen Street store, and him telling me about different bands he was playing in, and me telling him as well. And I would just see him at the shop, and then of course I started working at Drums Etc.
Yeah.
And he would come in as a customer, so I had that I knew him beforehand.
Oh, yeah,
and I was like,
that's
we
great,
had
man.
met a few times. Is that right? I mean, we talked. That's my earliest memories of meeting you, is talking to you out front of the Queen Street store.
Yeah, and then I remember more specifically just like when you started working at Drums Etc. and the New Holland Ave.
Yeah.
location. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's bring him on.
Let's bring him on.
Dig into it.